Welcome to another episode of the Players Ball Podcast for AT Aliens by AT Aliens. I'm your host, Alex the Great. I'm joined with my brother from another MB. Man, you had a big competition this past weekend. I just wanted to hear the results of. Um, it was in Atlanta, not quite sports. I don't know if they would call it sports, but my boy participated in the regional Pokemon trading card tournament.
Yeah, it was a regional championship for the Pokemon TCG game. Uh, you say it's not a sport, but one of the guys I played against was on scholarship to a school in Kentucky for esports, and they were paying him to be there. So,
Really?
yeah, pretty
That's
wild.
that's not even an e-sport though, right? It's very physical. It's not electronic at all.
Well, there is the game, the
Oh, yeah.
computer mobile app. You can get it on your computer. You can play on a mobile device. So I guess maybe that's where some of those lines cross. But it was good. It was down at the World Congress Center. Uh, the tournament itself was Saturday, Sunday, but Friday they had you could come in, register, like get your badges, your passes, whatever. They had a couple vendors set up. There are side games that you can do to earn tickets like you do at the arcade. And then they have a
Okay.
prize wall that you can trade in those tickets for. And so we went, we checked it out. We were there most of the day from like 11 to 6 p.m. So good period of time. But we were standing over by where some of the side events were going on, and I look over to my left, and I'm like, man, that guy looks so familiar. And like I was like 2 seconds away from going up to him and saying, "Hey, man, does anyone ever tell you you look like Big Boy?" And I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't do it. I chickened out. But later on in the night, we're down. They do broadcast like so after the fourth round, they start broadcasting individual matches, like a featured match on
Yeah.
YouTube and Twitch. And so they have all the stages set up for the broadcast games. And so we're sitting down near where they do that, and the same guy is over there. I'm like, dude, that is freaking Big Boy. I know that's Big Boy. It's got to be Big Boy. I still didn't go up and say anything to him. I should have. I regret it. But I go on Instagram and I check his stories, and sure enough, that was freaking Big Boy.
Big boy is at the Pokemon tournament. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't say anything to him. But it was cool that he was there. You know, this podcast, we're big Outcast fans. You know, our logo, our segments, they're all influenced by Andre and Big Boy, and for him to be there,
Influence. That's the
um,
right word.
yeah, it's, it's cool.
Oh man, that sucks, man. Yeah, you could have got a picture for the pod, bro.
I could have, but I'm not like you. I'm more shy when it comes to stuff
Mm.
like that. I'm like, I don't want to ruin that man's day. He was out there. I don't know if his wife or his girlfriend was with him, but they had a bag full of stuff, a giant Charizard plushie. They were having a good time. I didn't want to spoil it.
That's dope. That's dope. See, everybody loves a little Pokemon, man. Even the famous and fantastic Big Boy. That's dope. You kept that one in the holster, man. You didn't tell me that.
You know, I
Well played,
did.
good sir. Well
I
played.
sent you the reel, but you didn't get it because you were
Oh
too
yeah, yeah,
busy
no.
in enjoying La Playa.
Yeah, yeah. La Playa was nice, man. We only got one like beach day, but we were out there all day. I got the full setup. So I got a little tent, and then I got the cover, the 10 by 10, and so we were out there. They dug a bunch of holes, had to fill the nugs back in. Brittany says Charlotte just works the whole time we go to the beach. She's just down to the water and back with water and wet sand, but she loves it. Adrian loved it, so it was a good time. And then it was a little chilly for 2 of the 3 days that we were in Florida. Um, but the pool was heated.
Mm.
And it was a giant pool, so That was super nice. Now we had a blast, man. The Alexanders and the Bowmans linked it up for another spring break. Put that one in the book. So no, that was a good time, man. Missed out on all the sports. It was like came back and I was listening to the radio this morning, taking the kids. Excuse me, taking the kids to school and it was like United lost, the Braves lost, the Hogs lost, and blah blah blah. But it actually didn't end up being as bad as I understood it to be on the radio, man. But I mean, with that, man, let's jump into some Spaghetti Junction. We got traffic incoming, covering all the biggest news in ATL sports, no matter the lane, no matter the highway. Let's get into it with Spaghetti Junction. And where we're gonna start is actually with none of those. We're gonna start with some golf, man. So when we got back off the road from Florida, we had to drop my mother-in-law back off at her home, and my father-in-law, big golf advocate, huge enthusiast, got me into the game a little bit. I haven't watched a whole lot, but I sat there and watched the final round, or I guess the closing of the Masters, and I got to see, a pretty historic event transpire live. So I know Rory McIlroy, one of the best golfers to do it, and he had been chasing the infamous career Grand Slams when you win all the major golf events. He could not win the Masters. Augusta has eluded this man for so long. And they're on the 18th, and he's literally like I think 3 feet out from the cup, and he puts it. It might have been closer than that, and he missed it.
Oh
Like if he
man.
puts, if he sinks it, he wins. It's over. And you can't get that excited about golf, but that was super exciting to see him blow that putt because they were talking about how historic it would be. I think he might be the fifth
He's the
or sixth
sixth.
golfer,
Yeah. Yeah.
to complete the career Grand Slam. He did something that put him as the third golfer. It's him, Tiger, and I don't know, Arnold Palmer.
Hmm.
Like it's not a lot of people who've done that other feat. I don't remember what that was, but he gets up there, he misses this putt, has to go into a playoff, um, kills the drive. Right, my father-in-law walked away when they were driving on the shootout, and he came back. He's like, "How did he do?" I was like, "Oh yeah, he outdrove him by a mile." He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, nah, he can hit that ball far." I heard him analyzing on the radio. They're saying, similar things like, for him to be around our age, that he's still one of the strongest swingers in the game. So it was exciting to watch. And what ended up happening is that Justin Rose, I think is his name, who this will be his third loss in a shootout in the
Mm.
Masters. His third time being runner up in the Masters. But Rory, with that power, got him closer to the pin, and he had an easier putt. So Justin Rose putted. He was a ways out. He made a putt on 18 to tie it, or to go to 11 under. Um, and then he couldn't repeat that because that would have sent it to another hole. Roy's his chip shot was just too close, man.
Yeah.
He went down. He was crying. Brittany's like, "Why is he crying?" you know, she didn't understand the passion behind what he was going through. But I told her, it's like, "Oh wow, I didn't know that they were like real emotional and stuff when they win." I was like, "Yeah, no, this is a big moment for him. He brought his wife and his child out there." So I thought that was dope. You know, being on the highway for as long as I was, getting to this Spaghetti Junction topic was cool, right? I know we don't talk a whole lot of golf, but it was dope to watch.
It's cool he finally got that monkey off his back, joined
Yeah.
some elite company, like you said. The likes of Gene Sarrazin, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and now Rory McIlroy. Those are your 6 career Grand Slam achievers. And with how difficult it is, you never know if you'll get another one. So shout out to Rory. finally getting it done in Augusta.
I heard there was a former PGA caddy that caddied on the tour on 92.9 a game this morning. He was saying like now that he's finally accomplished it, he's still young enough to go out there and get like two or three more, and it should be easier since he's finally got that monkey off his back. The pressure's done.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he goes out and does, man. He makes me think maybe I go pro.
Good
Maybe
luck.
not. It is fun. Golf is probably the most challenging sport I've ever played. Like the consistency that you have to have, is there is some luck to it. The ball has to break your way more often than not, but the level of skill and consistency that these pros play with, man, it's very impressive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've only played a couple rounds of golf in my lifetime, but it was enough to know how difficult it is. Easily the most difficult individual sport out there in terms of like like you said, consistency, the
Yeah,
accuracy, just to be able to do what they do on a routine basis and have that much control over where the ball goes, and the course changing every time, and like every weekend you go out, you're playing a different course, and the
yeah,
weather and all of that factored in. It's incredible what they do. It just shines even more light on what like the Jack Nicklaus's and Tiger Woods of the world were able to accomplish in winning so many tournaments throughout their career.
yeah. So many majors. Yeah, yeah. No, that's crazy. Have you heard Cat Williams talk about golf?
No, I have not.
Oh man, I'm gonna send you a couple links. I won't get into it, but he loves golf. It's kind of his thing, and you wouldn't see Cat. I wouldn't think Cat would play golf, but maybe that's just me labeling and stereotyping. I ain't never seen a pimp on the links before, and now I have. So, all right, man. Well, from that to the Braves finally getting a series win against a interdivision opponent at that. So that was nice to see. They went 2 of 3 with the Phillies. One of those very exciting ending. I don't know if both of those was in that, but we'll touch on more Brave stuff down the road. You got to stick around to hear it. Don't leave. But they beat the Phillies, and then they stunk it up against the Rays. They are a winner right now against the
Blue Jays.
Bluebirds, Blue Jays. There we go. Um, so did you watch any baseball?
I watched a little bit of it, and without getting into too much detail, because we will talk about them further on in another segment. But they had an opportunity to win all three of those against the Phillies, and anytime you beat the Phillies or the New York Mets, which we have not played yet, it's a good feeling as a fan because those are our division rivals, and you never want to lose to your division rivals.
Yeah, it was a rubber match situation, right? They split the first two, and
Yes.
the Braves won the third. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're still last in the division. We will talk about it a little later, but moving on to the next one, the news you can use in Spaghetti Junction. Um, there was a discussion that we had back in the fall post a Chiefs Falcons game where we felt we were absolutely robbed when there was a pass interference that occurred, clear pass interference. Everyone knew it except for the referees.
Oh, they knew it.
And well, they know it a lot more now. So one of the referees, uh, there were 3 referees that have been relegated. For those who don't know, that's a soccer term. Maybe it's not exclusive to soccer, but that's where I first became familiar with it. Where if you are last place in the big leagues, you are sent down to the little leagues with an opportunity to return by playing better the next season in the little leagues. These referees, which feels a bit like a slight to college football, but they have been sent down to Power 4 football to referee there for a season with the opportunity to return to the NFL. So one of those guys was the one who missed the call in that Chiefs Falcons game where we would have won probably.
We definitely wouldn't have lost the way we lost if that
Yeah.
call is made. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, it sucks because it's basically the league saying that they screwed up, and as much as that may justify some of those feelings that we had, in the immediate aftermath, um, in hindsight, you can't help but feel a little slighted, right?
Hmm.
For us specifically, that was a game changing call. The same referee that was responsible there uh, was responsible for missing another game changing call earlier in the season. And for us, we win one of those games, we're in the playoffs. So
Hmm.
you can't rewrite history, and you can't, condone the way that the season played out, right? Like all we had to do was win any of those games that we lost and the outcome changes. But for the league to come out and say like, well, we really messed up on this one, and the referee responsible is going to be demoted for it, uh it kind of it hurts.
I don't know. Public demotion is crazy work, man. I can't imagine, the embarrassment that they may feel. You said that he had messed up another call. Did it happen to be another Chiefs game? Do you know?
I think it was a
Because then things start to get a
I don't
little
remember
crazy.
I don't remember who the opponent was, but it was a face mask that they missed on um Josh Allen, against Josh
Mm,
Allen in a Bills game. So it very well could
gotcha.
have been a Chiefs game, being that they are in the same division, but I think it was a Jets Bills game, or maybe not the Bills. I don't know who are Jets. I don't know who the Bills lost to last year. They had quite a good season. So
Yeah, Chiefs. They lost to the Chiefs, but that was playoffs. I don't know if they played regular season. Feels like they would have, but yeah, man, get your act together, or you get demoted out here. Is that something that happens? I had never heard of that before.
I think it's newer
Yeah.
to the league. I didn't know that there was like, I don't know how the referee system works, but there's like a organization that all the refs work for. They don't actually work for the league directly. I think they're contracted through some ref
Mm,
organization that works with the NFL. So I I don't know. There's a lot of nuance in how that business is run, but it does, on a positive note, give me some bit of faith in knowing that the league is at least reviewing and doing some performance analysis for these
yeah.
guys, and just not letting it just slide. Like if you're not good at your job, you will lose your job.
Right. Unless you're a team owner or team ownership group, which we covered in depth last week.
Yeah, I think
No one
it's
likes you, media. Go home. Liberty Media, go home.
yeah, I think it's different when you own something versus working for someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to fire them though. We want to hold them accountable, and
Yeah.
the only way to do that is a 5-year plan of boycotting games. One of the last things I want to include in this segment, man, is Joe Flacco. So he got a job. It was a job that I was hoping that Kirk Cousins would get. He signed with the Cleveland Browns. So I tell you, I know you said you didn't know a whole lot about the rumors there. So Kirk Cousins was in Cleveland not that long ago. He was pictured at like a it seemed like very public and intentional photo ops, right? At a Chipotle and then some other Cleveland establishment. So the rumor was that he was up there visiting with the team and they were interested in signing him. And then, the media ran with it, right? All right, Kirk Cousins is looking like he's going to go to the Browns. He's going to the Browns. Well, now that they have Joe Flacco, they are not signing Kirk Cousins. I don't see that being in his future at this point. So his odds of starting have decreased that much more. Because I said it last week, I'll say it again. We went through the list of teams with an active quarterback, and I know you think Minnesota does not have their quarterback of the future in JJ McCarthy, but um, I did go back and read, and it does seem like I maybe we were both right, but I read the articles saying that he has the vote of confidence from his head coach, and then Aaron Jones came in and said that JJ McCarthy is a different kind of cat. So it looks like he's getting buy-in from players as well. Um, None of that really matters to us. Who cares about the Vikings unless they're going to take Kirk Cousins back off our hands? So uh, I don't know where he ends up. I mean, you said on our roster through training camp, if it's not in the draft, looks like that might actually come to fruition.
I think it's going to be an in-season injury
Or in season, yeah.
that's going to have him on the move cuz there's he has a no trade clause, right? So he has to waive his no trade clause in order to go somewhere. And from meetings that um the team has had with Kurt, he is willing to do so, but he is publicly, either through his agent or through his people, made it known that the only way he will waive his trade clause is if he goes to a team where he's basically assured to be the starter and that they are not going to draft another quarterback, which is crazy. He doesn't want to end up in another Atlanta situation, basically, where they blindside him and draft a quarterback in the first round and basically his replacement. Um, so we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. But I do think the signing of Joe Flacco definitely influences or reduces the odds that we see a move for Kirk before the season starts.
Yeah, yeah. That and you know how this is that time, like the calm before the storm. That is the draft. So a lot can transpire within the next. The draft is in 2 weeks, so a lot can transpire in 2 weeks. But I don't see a whole lot of movement. The draft will come with its own news cycles that won't care as much about Kirk Cousins because there's a lot more things to talk about. So
Absolutely.
we'll see what happens. I mean, right now they need something to discuss, so this is one of those items. They've mock draft themselves to death at this point. So
I learned a quick fact, draft wise. Under Terry Fontenot, we have not made a single trade up in the first round. Suppose I read that, but now I'm second guessing who was in charge when we went up and got Caleb McGarry and oh, what's his name?
Chris Lindstrom.
Chris Lindstrom. Was that the final year of I think that was the final Thomas Dimitroff draft. But
They outside of that trade, I can't remember when they've done it before outside of Julio.
I have to think on it. The Julio one is a big one. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Draft's coming up in, what are we? 2 weeks out. A week from Thursday.
Yep.
So we're gonna be hitting up that Falcons draft party again this year. Maybe we'll get some content going. Last year we recorded and streamed the pick announcement and the reaction within the stadium. So maybe uh, we'll be doing that again this year. So be on the lookout.
Man, it'll be so much longer. I don't know if you remember how long it took them to get to pick number 8. we're doubling on that this year. We'll probably be there 2 hours before they make the selection, man. But it's a good time in there. There's a lot to do, a lot of people to talk to. We can get some fan takes. Yeah, put out some content for y'all, man, because we know y'all love it. Like, follow, subscribe, all of that. But you know, we're gonna close that. Let's close that and get into some finer details, man. We are jumping over to Hootie Hoo.
From the gridiron to the hardwood, you know you got to keep your eyes on the birds. Let's talk Hawks. Let's talk Falcons. This is Hootie Hoo.
And we're going all Hawks uh, this week. The season wrapped yesterday with a victory against the Orlando Magic. Um, we did beat them, but we lost enough games to where we only finished eighth. So we will face them in the play-in round. 7 versus 8. The winner locks up the seventh spot. Because they're seventh, they will play at home. But we have a chance to beat them. Did you know that Orlando is the worst? They have the worst offensive rating in the league.
No, I did not.
They do. They're bottom of the barrel, but their defensive rating is very high. So, but it's higher when Jalen Suggs plays, and he is out for the season. So we have decent odds. I mean, we just beat them. We play them tomorrow.
We also just lost to him as well.
That win was more recent than the loss.
It was, but not by much. Few days in between, but
Yeah, like 5 whole days, man.
a
We
lot
figured them
happens in
out.
5 days. Yeah.
We figured them out, man. Got it locked up. Um, but in that there was an article that came out, and I've said it once, I've said it a million times. The national media hates Atlanta. I just cannot figure out why they are so disrespectful. So this article drops on Yahoo. I want to I want to get the author, so we just start bashing people by name. Um, Ben Rauschbach, Yahoo Sports writer, senior writer Ben Rauschbach. No one likes you, Ben, and you know nothing about basketball, Jon Snow. This man said of 20 teams that include all the play-in teams, the Atlanta Hawks have the lowest chance of winning the championship. Off the bat, we're top 16 because we're an eighth seed. So there are 4 teams that finish worse than us. That alone should mean that we're not the last team. And I don't know how he lands at that. Do you need me to give you the play-in teams?
Yes, I do. But that is
All right.
some crazy work, right? Like
Yes,
you're
sir, it
going
is.
above and beyond to just hate Ben Roshbach. Is that what you said? I bet you he's a Yorker.
Rohrbach, Ben
Roar
Rohrbach,
Ben Rohrbach.
has been with Yahoo Sports since 2012. Began covering the Boston Celtics.
So he is a Yankee by way of the Northeast United
Well, I don't know if
States.
you can call him a Yankee, just because he's from Boston. He's Bostonian. They're a different batch up there, eh?
Hey, you're
With the
from
Dunkin' Donuts.
if you're from the Northeast, you're a Yankee, just like
Damn Yank. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say. That's the Southern rule.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. So the play-in teams are Chicago, Sacramento. Oh, where'd it go? Oh shucks, phone's going crazy.
Chicago and Sacramento, I think we're better than both those guys off the rip.
Yeah. Yes, I think we have a better chance of winning them.
Um, did Sacramento they moved on from Aaron Fox at the trade deadline?
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox went to the Spurs. So they picked up, DeMar DeRozan at the beginning of the season, and then Zach Levine. But they just have a bunch of players who, have never had any playoff success. Why would I think that they can just get it together now and be better than the Hawks? Granted, we haven't had much playoff success. We've had more than them though.
So in
um,
the Eastern Conference, you got Chicago and Miami.
there you
In the
go.
Western Conference, you have Sacramento and Dallas, and then the teams that they will face up against. You got Golden State, Memphis at 7 and 8. You got Orlando and Atlanta at 7 and 8 on the East. Um, I could see some arguments, um, in
For Miami,
favor of the Grizzly and the Warriors. Um, but even that I think is kind of a stretch. I mean, anytime you got Steph Curry, I mean, you got a chance. And then I like what Memphis has done. Uh, they got your boy Zach
they have drafted
Edey.
well.
um, they got Pew Pew, man. He seems to be staying out of trouble.
He's a
Yeah.
grenader now. He doesn't use guns. He throws grenades.
But old John Morant. So they got some firepower. Do they still have the old most hated man in the NBA?
No, he's with the Rockets. Dylan
Okay.
Brooks.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
But they got
So I go ahead.
Desmond
They have
Bain,
Desmond Bain. Yep.
Ja,
Um,
Zach Edey.
um, JJ, Jaron Jackson, Triple J, Jaron Jackson Jr. is good. They drafted another guy, Aldama. He was good. He put up some numbers on me in I think it was a championship or the semifinals in the fantasy football or fantasy basketball, but he got off. So I mean, we more likely than Dallas for sure, more likely than Sacramento for sure. Miami, they have a Hall of Fame coach. They don't have Jimmy Butler. We have a better shot in winning than Miami. I'm giving it to us there. And then the Bulls. I think we have a better shot than the Bulls.
I'm curious. I saw an article on Bleacher Report a couple days ago. I think they did it right after the season ended, and they were basically redoing the draft grades after year one. I was curious what they assessed the Grizz at. I know what they
Mm.
gave the Hawks. What do you think they gave the Hawks?
Draft with Ricochet.
Mm-hmm. So after the season completed, like now that we've had a year, what would you grade the draft? Now that they have some performance,
B.
B.
Yeah,
That
B
is
plus.
also what the Hawks
They
were
good.
given. Yeah, it was a straight B. Um, they pointed out just the growth of Zach Ricochet over the course of the season, and how he has a lot of upside. Now, I did find they did give the Grizzly a solid A.
Yeah, and I mean Ricochet should be in the running for Rookie of the Year. He he won between him and Spurs. Stefan Castle. They tied in the number of times they won the Rookie of the Month. And I told you and our listeners, like the winner of those Rookie of the Months generally goes on to win the Rookie of the Year award. So Ricochet should definitely be in the conversation. Stephon Castle, I think, had a little more opportunity when De'Aaron Fox came over and went down. He was already playing next to Chris Paul because Chris Paul can still do it, but not nearly at the same energy level or enthusiasm as he used to. So he's been playing a lot. I think Ricochet should win Rookie of the Year. So for them to, well, maybe the other thing they're taking into account is that the Grizzlies were further back in the draft order. Like we had the number one overall pick. I don't know who they expected us to take besides Zach Edey. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm cool with their A and our B.
Yeah, I think
Even if Ricochet is he ends up being better. I think Zach Edey would have fit very nicely in with Trae Young.
for sure. Too bad we couldn't get them both. But
That was the dream, man. And then we'd be set. Like I'm not trying to get Zion anymore. If we got Zach Edey and Ricochet, I feel like we got a super strong, young, hungry five. Did you know the Hawks' average age is less than the age of the Auburn Tigers? Did you know that?
no, but I
That's
don't doubt it.
that's crazy, right? The Tigers are older than an NBA team, which is wild because basketball still has the one and done potential.
Really, you don't even have to one. You can go play in the G League or in some of these
Or
other,
broad,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting. I was trying to remember. You brought up Chris Paul. We were what, seniors in high school when he was drafted?
Mm-hmm. Maybe juniors. I think it was '05. No, maybe we seniors. I don't know. The Hawks should have had him. We should have drafted Chris Paul.
Was that the Sheldon Williams?
No, I think this was Marvin.
Marvin Williams. Yeah.
Sheldon was the next year
Yeah.
that we blew it. They went back to back with those NCU players. UNC play
Well,
NCU.
Sheldon Williams was Duke. So they went with the North Carolina teams.
ACC. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
want. Yeah.
The North Carolina Tobacco Road rivals, but either way, both were gigantic busts. And it will forever be one of those shoulda, woulda, coulda with the Chris Paul.
Yep.
But
Classic Atlanta sports moment. It was 2005.
okay, yeah. So
And it was Marvin. Sheldon was the next one. We drafted Marvin Williams second overall.
mm,
Before Darren Williams, who also had a incredible career. And then Chris Paul. Goodness gracious, man.
but we're coming up on what, 20 years.
This will
So
be the 20th year.
the fact that he's still even playing is somewhat remarkable.
Well, LeBron James, the GOAT, was drafted in 2003.
Not my goat.
Yeah, not mine either. The GOAT.
No,
It's official, man. So I'm
not
snapping
even close.
it.
Not even close.
Yeah. Oh, fat haters like nah, I don't know how fat Shaq is. He's always been a large man. But hating on LeBron, man, it just really endears him to me even more
It's funny.
when that happens. Especially coming from where I was, right? Like,
It's still MJ for me. You will not convince me otherwise.
and I won't try. It's a solid argument, right? He has a case. This Michael guy. What's his name? Jordan. Jordan is. No, I mean, I ain't mad at nobody saying Michael Jordan is the GOAT because
So
he kind of is still. But LeBron is definitely, he can be 1B for sure. Easy 1B.
I don't want to go down that path, but just like a quick aside. So we were down at the World Congress Center Friday and Saturday, and we didn't go Sunday because those 2 days were long. But Friday we were down there, and we walked over to the CNN Center or whatever they call it now. I
Yeah.
hadn't been in there in a long time, and that place is like ghost town compared to what it used to be.
Mm,
But Bennett had on his flag football jersey. He was on the Packers. So he kept getting go pack go, yada 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 from people. And one guy was like, "Who's your favorite Packer?" And I looked at him, I was like, "He doesn't know a single one." And the guy was like, "Ah, you're kidding me." And then we were like, this is as we're walking. So we were just kind of joking. It was me and, a group of friends and Bennett. And I was like, Bennett doesn't know professional athletes. And I don't know how it came up, but Michael Jordan. And he was able to say who Michael Jordan was and what sport he played. So for a kid that knows zero about sports, being able to identify Michael Jordan and what sport he played, I thought that was pretty cool.
Now that Grayson talks sports, I guess, with some of his friends, because I didn't tell him about Messi or Ronaldo and the
Oh yeah,
shoes. He runs around doing that crap. Um, but the first athlete that he was aware of, self-aware of, was LeBron James.
LeBrenda,
LeBron James.
LeBrenda James Jr.
LeBron is definitely his guy, man. Recognizes him. Like he'll see his picture and be like, oh, that's LeBron James. And that's been like 2 years, 3 years, whenever Space Jam came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's because of the movie, not because he knows his game.
Nah, he recognized him in his Laker jersey too. He
Now,
saw him. We went and seen him. Like LeBron James, yeah, that is more of a now thing.
yeah,
Historic year for Trae Young, right? He did a lot of feats.
led the league in assists,
Yeah,
11.6 per game. Right, it's the highest assist total since Russell Westbrook did it back in 2020 and 2020, the 2020-2021 season. So was that the bubble year or was that post bubble? I think
I
that
think
has to
that might
be
have been.
bubble. Um,
Yeah,
so that gets an asterisk.
because
So
they resumed it, right? Did they stop the season and then resume it in the bubble?
I don't remember how it worked. I just know they
You know what?
played in Orlando or whatever. Um, but yeah, he's the first player in Hawks franchise history to achieve that feat. So that's pretty cool. He's also the youngest player to reach 12,000 points and 4,500 assists. Younger than even one LaBrenda James when she did it. Um,
Oh, you're going crazy.
um, yeah. So big year for Trae. He has a chance to continue to, you know, solidify himself as a bona fide superstar in this league, uh, with his performance in the playoffs, and we're gonna need every bit of, that Trae fire that he comes out with. He is one thing you cannot deny is Trae's passion. When he's out on the floor, he leaves it all out there. Um, so we're gonna need him to continue that historic year and lead our team as far as he can in the playoffs.
Especially in the playoffs. He plays out of his mind. He just hasn't ever really had a supporting cast to do what was needed. Outside of that 1 year, that post bubble year, it was 2021. Yeah, you got the year right. 21-22 was when we went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Um, realistically, how far do you think this team can go?
I think realistically, what is it? You got um the play in. Is it best of two for the 7 and 8?
Mm-mm.
I,
One game.
okay. So there's one that if they win, they get to play again, but if they lose, they're out. Like the play in's a weird format.
Yeah. So it's 7 versus 8, one game. Winner gets the 7th seed. 9 and 10 play. And then winner of 9 and 10 plays 8. to take their spot. So they get if they lose to Orlando, they get another op on Friday. Ideally, we just win. We get the 7th seed. So if we get the 7th seed, we get Boston. We get the 8th seed. We get Cleveland. Now we beat those guys multiple times, this
Yeah.
year. I don't think we beat them in a 7 game, but I think we can be competitive, and that's all I want. I don't want to get swept. Um, the team right now, as it's constructed, especially missing Jalen Johnson, is too heavily dependent upon Trae for offense. I know some of the pieces that we got at the trade deadline, like George Niang, Karis LeVert, can have big games. You know what? It would be an interesting story if we caught Cleveland, just because we did that big trade with them. We faced DeAndre Hunter, who what's he gonna do in the playoffs? Probably drop a little 50 burger on us. I'll show you.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we make it out of the first round. But I just want to see some competitive basketball.
Realistically, I think we get out of the play-in and we go 6 or 7 games against whoever we face in the next round.
Yeah. What was I saying? Chicks pick up sticks, get
Hawks
your
and
ice cream a
6.
lick. Hawks and 6. They gotten out of control with them. The Lakers in fives, man. They've been crafting them things. Non-Shay contributions. They are hilarious. It's probably one of my favorite things on the internet right now.
I go back and forth on how I feel about Shannon Sharp. He has some takes where I'm like, you're just a paid media head that you've sold your soul to the big 4-letter network. And then he's got some
Maybe just his opinion, not his soul. You sold your opinions now. Maybe it's so. Who knows? I know Disney's buying.
I mean, I can't blame him. He's doing what he got to do to secure the bag. But I go back and forth, like I said, on like how I feel about his takes.
Mm-hmm.
But those Lakers in 5, they're hilarious.
Lakers in 5. I won't try to remember. There's one that I call upon periodically in conversation. No, I'm not, because it'll take me too long to think of it. All right, man. Well, we're gonna see what the Hawks gonna do. They play tomorrow night. Tune in. It's on TNT. If you got your sling, your FUBU. Obviously, we're gonna give you an update on it about a week or so. Maybe even before that. We'll get some social out there for y'all. Again, like, follow, subscribe. We need you. We want y'all to comment too. Actually tell us what you think the Hawks are gonna do. Like, what is their no, never mind. Don't tell me that one. I don't want y'all opinion. I don't want the streets' opinion on the Hawks. It's just gonna hurt my feelings. We'll ask that in a later segment. Well, let's move on to the next segment.
It's a good segue, that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, it is. It is, because I just elevated up and down right there with my request for comments.
From the parking garage to the penthouse, no one takes you on more highs and lows than Atlanta sports. Let's me, you, your mama, and your cousin too get on this elevator. Don't touch the button. We got you locked in.
This week on elevators, we talking some Braves, man. Run it down for us, man. What are we talking about?
All right, so we're gonna give you a high, give you a little low, kind of give you our mood, just kind of our heat check meter on the team. This week again, it is the Braves because they are the ones that are in the middle of their season, right? The beginning of their season in all reality.
Fairly early. Yeah.
But they're the ones that have the most going right now outside the Hawks, right? the Hawks may find their way into this segment come playoff time. We'll just have to see how that goes. But anyways, we'll start with this week's high. I got a couple, right? You mentioned in the beginning that we won the series against the Phillies. It's the only series victory we have. And since kind of that time period, so in the last 7 days, Marcell Ozuna has hit 2 walk-off home runs. One in game 1 against the Phillies, and the one in our single victory against the Tampa Bay Rays in that series. Now, I think that was his 6th career walk-off home run in the Phillies, and then he followed it up with the 7th in the Rays, something like that. So he doesn't have many, but he's getting it done right now. And then honorable mention, I have to shout out a guy that we've kind of bashed quite a bit for his lack of availability.
Sorry, Sean.
And I think, context is important, right? It's never personal, but when evaluating Sean Murphy as a fan, you can't not look at what we gave up as a trade piece in William Contreras, who is an outstanding player. So, fair, unfair, his comparison will always be linked to what William Contreras is doing. And up to this point, William has been in a commanding lead. But Sean got his first start of the year in that game 1 against the Phillies. No, it might have been against the Marlins. He got his first start recently. He's played 6 games for us this season. But his first at bat, he hit a 3-run home run to start it off. So what a way to come back. Since then, he added to that home run total this evening and is up to 4 home runs in 6 games. So Sean Murphy swinging the bat well. Got to give him that honorable mention for this week's highs.
Yeah, man, stay on it. Don't slip back down. I'm ready. I'm at your neck, Sean. Because for those exact reasons, man. That William Contreras trade has not aged well, and also, your greatest ability is availability. He ain't been available, and when he was available last year, he was hitting like trash. So, hopefully, this is more of the real Sean Murphy. Will the real Sean Murphy stand up? And I'll give you praise when praise is due.
Yeah, I mean, we will be the first to criticize, but we will also be the first to praise, right? Got to be equal opportunists.
Hmm.
Can't be, completely biased one way or the other. But real.
Yeah, just a little bias. That's all we want. Just a little bias, a little Atlanta bias. We're not monsters.
But no, we give real takes, none of this, fake stuff. Shannon Sharp. Just to tie that into the previous segment. But anyways, good week for Marcel, good week for Sean Murphy. Overall, the Braves are still struggling. We got a long hole to climb out of. We started the season 0-7. It ties, I think, the worst start in franchise history since coming to Atlanta in like 1966. The other seasons that were equal were 1988 and 1990. 1991, Braves went worst to first, made it to the World Series. I think that's one of the greatest stories in franchise history is that worst to first season. But we don't want to be the worst. We don't want to go opposite direction where we've been on top of the mountain and just fallen off the cliff. So we got a a big hole to climb out of, and that leads us to kind of the lows of this week. Chris Sale is on the struggle bus. He's 0-3 in his 4 starts. He's given up 15 hits, 9 runs, 8 of those earned, in about 18 innings pitched with 24 strikeouts. So not a good start to the season for your reigning Cy Young Award winner. Some things that I find concerning about this is not Chris's most recent start, but the start before. One of the analysts for the Braves was posting on social media that as the game went on, you could see the decline in his velocity.
Mm.
So just some concerning, analytics in regards to his starts and kind of the way he's trending. And then on the radio, they were actually discussing these Mark Bowman tweets. And Steak Shapiro, he's, a Bostonian, parading as an AT alien. But he was saying that in his time up in Boston, he was, around when Chris Sale was in Boston. And he was saying that Chris is extremely hard on himself, and he's the type of person that he'll beat himself up. And sometimes that's a good thing, right? Like, it can motivate you, it could propel you for improvement to get better, but it can also derail you, and it can take you way off course. And what we need the Cy Young Award winning Chris Sale this season. So we need him to right the ship and, get that mind right.
It's good that he's holding himself accountable. They talked about on the radio how, and I haven't seen it. I did look for it and I couldn't find it, but talked about how he like was visibly angry after I don't know what he did. Maybe he threw a homer or something. Did you see that?
I didn't see the actual moment that you're speaking of, but in his last start, he gave up a home run in the first inning. Um, so it has
You
not.
one of these cursing to the glove?
It has not gone well, but to what I think Steak was kind of getting at is like he'll stay up all night long just beating himself up over the performance, and holding yourself accountable is good, right? But there's also, like I said before, there's a point where it's detrimental.
Yeah,
And
slippery slope.
I've shouted out, or you and I have had conversations, both on the podcast and off the podcast about Trevor Bauer. My personal feelings. I feel like the Braves are missing a grand opportunity to sign that man. But I've told you some of the things that I like about him is he's a very analytical, very mechanical minded pitcher. He does a blog. I watched that blog, and I watched one today actually that highlighted his first start in Japan, highlighted some spring training uh, starts, but also his first actual regular season start. And leading up to the first, or leading up to one of his, I think it was his last spring training start before opening day, he was dealing with some personal stuff, business related stuff that had him stressed out. He wasn't sleeping well. He tracks his sleep score. He has a program that tells him his like readiness for starting, and he knew based off of the lack of sleep and everything leading up to that start that his body was going to be trash, that he was going to be laboring through that start. And sure enough, it was a terrible outing for him. He followed that up with an absolutely spectacular opening day. He's able to get his mind right. He was able to get some sleep and do all his routine and recovery and get prepared. So I do think it's important to note that mental state and body preparation and sleep and your process from game to game is very important to your success. It's not an absolute like if you do all these things you're going to be a Cy Young winner, but they do trend, right? Like the better prepared you are, the more likely you will have success. And the last thing we need is uh, Chris Sale to beat himself up so bad that he's unprepared, unready in terms of mental and physical well being.
Yeah, no, I agree. You can definitely do too much. Hold yourself accountable, but also give yourself some grace. That's in life, right? Not even just on the diamond, on the court, or the field, or whatever you're doing. Gotta give yourself some grace because there's not a whole lot of people that will. Jesus will. Not a whole lot of earthly people will give you grace. So you got to give it to yourself from time to time without letting yourself off. If you're out here acting like an asshole or doing something that you shouldn't be doing, maybe you should be holding yourself a little more accountable. But if you make a mistake or you do a bad job here and there, nobody's perfect. Yeah, give yourself some grace. So that leads me to a question that was asked on the radio this morning. It was Mike and Abe, and I would love to just sit and argue with Abe, but he because the way he's I won't get into it. He's very firm in his opinions. Let's say that
Oh
because
yeah.
it's not like an insult, right? But Mike asked, do we need him being Chris Sale, to be the Cy Young winner for the Braves to have success this year?
I think it depends on what your definition of success is. Do I think that we can win ball games and potentially win the division without Chris Sale being a Cy Young caliber pitcher? Yes. Do I think he needs to at least be a competitive pitcher? Yes. Can he be what he is right now and us be successful? No. Right? Like there is a level of success he has to have. Does he have to be the best in the league? No. But does he have to be successful? Does he have to win games? Does he have to, you know, go through, 5, 6, 7 innings a night and give us a shot to win? Yes. And if he can do that, then I think we'll be okay. On the positive side, we do have Spencer Schwellenbach pitching fabulous. You got a good outing from Grant Holmes, so that's been a mix bag, but he's been average, at best. But we sent AJ Smith Shawver back down to the minors, and
We talked about that.
Strider
I'm very disappointed.
Strider is absolutely lighting up the minor league. So he'll be making his first start, presumably Wednesday. I don't think it's been fully announced, but he's with the team in Toronto, and it is expected that he'll make his first start on Wednesday. He had like some 27 strikeouts in like 3 games
That's nuts.
against, I mean, it is minor league opponents, and
But still,
he is a
right?
bona fide ace. But coming off, a UCL injury and rehab, you just I wouldn't have expected him to be at this level right now. Like you would expect him to be warming into that, and it's like he's ready to go. So we'll get to see him hopefully on Wednesday. So between both Spencers um, holding it down, if Chris Sale can give you some solid outings, that's 3, you know, games a series that you should be in the driver's seat to win, with a toss up in the 4th spot. I don't know what we do about the 5th spot in the rotation. Um, we'll just have to wait and see. Trevor is available. Go get him.
Yeah.
Uh, um, but yeah, so that leads me to my question. Hot, cold, warm, frigid. Like, how are you feeling? Like, what's the heat check that you have as a fan for this team? I know a week ago we were feeling pretty gross, uh, disgusting, but
I'm still pretty cold, honestly. And the news of AJ Smith Shaw being sent back down. Ass. Boy, ass being sent. That's terrible initials. He playing like ass. His initials are ass. He gotta drop one of those last names, man.
That's why they do
Um,
AJSS instead.
AJSS.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no choice, huh? Used to work with a guy. I hope he's doing well. He's actually a cool guy. His name is I don't know if I should I say that. His name starts with a P, and a lot of our access to systems is first initial last name plus an anagram of sorts, and his last name is like basically it looks like penis man, but that is not his name. And I never made that joke before. Peter, if you see this, been thinking about that for and now that it said his now it said his first name, right? So cat's out the bag. I won't use this as a social clip though. Um it's names like that happens, right? So
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I'm cold still that they and that news that they sent him back down was news to me. I didn't know that they did that. I was really hoping that they heard me last week where you got to let the kid take his lumps, man. What else are you going to do? It's not like you have a winning record. What's at risk? You think his confidence is going to be blown that much? Well, at least you have a final, you've seen enough for to make a decision on the future. You keep pulling them down, that's not going to do anything, unless they had to clear a spot for Spencer Strider, which I wouldn't think that that's something they needed to do. If you're rolling Grant Holmes out there as frequently as they are, no disrespect to Grant Holmes, but
No, it's not. And he hasn't been activated yet, so um that roster spot will likely be whoever they brought up for AJ Smith Shaver. Uh it will probably be him going back down for Spencer Strider to come up. I'm with you. You know, we talked about it with Zach Ricochet this year. Sometimes you just got to let them, you know, fight through it and battle it out. But I think there's a lot of pressure just because of how bad the season has started to try and get the ship moving in the right direction. And you know, you can see it in the way that they play. This team analytically is built to hit the long ball, right? Like they're one of the few teams that weren't laying down bunts. I think they almost went 90% of the way through the season without even attempting a bunt.
mm,
And they already have they had bunts in that walk-off game against the Phillies in extra innings. Their very first at bat for um, the 10th, we laid down a perfect bunt to get the runner over to second. So they're playing more small ball right now, which I think has actually improved their success. They're getting more runs. They're overall doing better. I am still kind of on the cold side, but I am kind of trending more towards lukewarm, only because you have Spencer Strider coming back and you see this offense starting to do things that it's struggled with now. We said it last year, like tonight they exploded in runs. Austin Riley hit 2 home runs. Um, Sean Murphy hit a home run. You know, they were smacking the ball. And a lot of times, like against the Marlins, they busted out in opening day with 10 runs and then they were shut out 2 straight. So we'll have to see them like actually carry some of that momentum through a series versus just a single game. But I am trending more like I'm still cold, but my temperature's starting to rise a little bit on this team, especially just with the prospects of, getting Spencer back up at the top of this rotation to hold it down and what Schwellenbach's been doing. And then, the bats playing some small ball, not just living and dying by the long ball. I think that bodes well.
Yeah, two responses. One from a long time ago. I just forgot to say anything. You and Abe's take were pretty close as far as Chris Sale. Do we need him to win the Cy Young again? No, but he needs to be better than he is right now because of what you said about the necessity of having three pitchers in the playoffs. Like if you got three dogs, you can compete with pretty much anybody from a pitching duel standpoint. AJ Smith Shawver, his last game against the Rays, he won. He pitched 5 innings. He gave up 2 runs, 6 hits, couple walks. He had 7 strikeouts. That seems like that's a player figuring things out. That you don't send them back down.
So
So go ahead.
maybe it was a move that they knew Spencer. So initially, I thought Spencer was going to start tomorrow night, but it looks like it will be Wednesday. So just pure speculation, but because Schwellenbach is starting tomorrow, but maybe they sent AJ Smith down when they did to get him an extra start in the minors uh when they bring up Strider, and they needed Grant Holmes just because of the way the days fell to get tonight, right? Like you weren't going to pitch AJ Smith Shawver tonight. That would have been too close to his last start. So they got Grant Holmes. They needed the roster spot. They bring up somebody to pitch in the bullpen, right? And then the
Hmm.
drop him, start Strider, and then maybe it's a decision between AJ Smith Shawver and Grant Holmes when that time comes for that rotation to come back up.
If Bryce Elder makes his return to the bigs before AJ Smith Shawver, I'm gonna be pissed, royally pissed. This article that I'm reading now that I just pulled up is powered by Fanside. HouseThatHankBuilt.com. Love the name. Braves make absolutely baffling roster move ahead of Spencer Strider's return.
I saw the same article, and specifically it's talking about the move on AJ Smith Shawver. But yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is.
we'll just have to wait and see. But um, this is elevators.
But real quick, that plus, you just said that you weren't moving.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm cold. I'm still in the basement. Overall.
Yeah. But I was saying, this is elevators, so I expect, a little bit of a ride, a little bit of up and down, a little, wavering of emotion. So right now, Braves, we're still cold overall. I'm a little warmer than you are. And our feelings, I'm not angry at the moment about the AJ Smith Shawver, but we'll have to see what happens in the future and which way we go. I kind of expect that up and down.
That's what we gotta start doing. Come on, Snit. Get it together, man. Bring that kid back up. That was crazy work.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Well,
Well, I think we're coming up on it, man. Let's shout out Trevor Bauer, shout out Zion, GMs if you're listening. Get it done.
yeah.
Who would I want for the Falcons? I don't know. Got an interesting Falcons take for y'all, later in time. Not tonight, but want to get y'all thoughts on something that I have on my brain.
Draft
So
related?
check us out. No, no, not draft related.
Okay.
Goat talk. Falcons goat talk.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
we mentioned draft week from Thursday, so stay tuned next week, giving some draft takes, maybe make some predictions. And then, like we always do, we'll be giving you, the latest, greatest, and highs and lows of everything that it means to be an Atlanta sports fan. Because It's not an
It's a
easy
rough
feat.
go. It's a rough go.
Yes, sir. But we appreciate y'all staying with us. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow us on our socials. Players Ball Pod. We got a TikTok and Instagram. We appreciate all the love and support, and we'll catch you on the flip.
Peace.